Good evening, community members, school faculty, family, friends, and the class of 2021. I am Maddie Malott, one of West Holmes' senior class representatives. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2021 West Holmes High School Commencement. I extend my warmest congratulations to all receiving their diplomas and acknowledge the support that has helped us along the way. I would like to recognize the following individuals. Please stand to be recognized and stay standing until the end. From the West Holmes President, Mr. Andrew Jones. Vice President, Mrs. Tina Zickafus. Members, Mrs. Patricia Sage, Mr. Eric Strauss, and Mr. Bradley Welsh. Superintendent, Mr. John Thomas. Curriculum and Federal Programs Director, Mr. Brian Boffman. Treasurer, Mrs. Jamie Ziegler. And from the West Holmes High School staff, Principal, Mr. Tyler Renner. Assistant Principal, Mr. Ed Honeberger. Senior class advisors, Mrs. Melissa Rohde and Mr. Jeremy Westbrook. And representing the Ashland County West Holmes Career Center is Mr. Alan Wilson. Please join us in a round of applause. We would now like to recognize all of our current West Holmes preschool through high school teachers and faculty who are seated up front and throughout the stands. Please stand at this time and be recognized. I would like to now welcome my fellow class representatives, Brandon Barkman and Max Pratt.
Hello, I'm Max Pratt.
I'm Brandon Barkman, and we are our senior class representatives.
On behalf of the class of 2021, we'd like to thank the following people.
Mr. Tyler Renner, Mr. Ed Honeberger, Mr. Jeremy Westbrook, Mrs. Melissa Rohde, Mrs. Melanie Ferguson, Miss Scarlett Hobron, Mr. Brian Lash, Mr. Jim Park, Mrs. Tess Kinsey, Mrs. Kelly Hosan Jopic, Mr. Will O'Donnell, Mrs. Teresa Mackey, Miss Allison Rogers, Mr. Brian Dodd, Mrs. Kristen O'Brien, Mrs. Candy Hip, Mr. Donnie Hall, Mrs. Karen Hunter, Mr. Zach Gardner, and Mr. Jeremy Bernison.
And we'd also like to thank Mr. Dave McMillan in Building Trades, Mr. Jim Conrad in Jostens, Mr. Alan Wilson of the Ashland County West Holmes Career Center. Please join us for a round of applause. Please welcome our fellow class representative, Alexis Weiss.
Good evening. I'm Alexis Weiss, a senior class representative. At this time, we would like to recognize a retiree, Mrs. Karen Hunter. Karen has been at West Holmes High School for 22 years as our secretary. Thank you for your service. Karen, would you please stand and let us show you our appreciation? Please welcome my fellow class representative, Hayden Wolf.
Good evening. I'm Hayden Wolf, a senior class representative. Every year, the West Holmes senior class leaves behind a class legacy to better our facilities and or update our building. Besides leaving behind our legacy as being the smartest, funniest, and objectively best-looking class to ever grace these halls, this year we have also decided to help the athletic boosters purchase a new scoreboard for the baseball field. We hope this will serve our baseball team for many years to come. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage our valedictorian, Mr. Joshua Schrock.
Hello and welcome. I'd first like to thank everyone for attending today, and I would like to thank you for giving me the honor to speak to you. To my fellow graduates, congratulations, you made it. Especially with the events that occurred over the past couple school years, you deserve this. Now, when I thought about what to talk to you about today, I figured I might as well talk about some things that I'm pretty good at. And so one thing that came to my mind when I finished writing this speech Wednesday was that I'm a pretty good procrastinator. Many of you here can probably relate, but I swear procrastination is like a disease. It just infests your brain and completely shifts your mindset. I remember one time having a 5 or 6 page essay due, and the day it's due, my mom asks me, Josh, how's that essay coming along? And I say, Mom, I gotta be honest, it's not looking so good. I'm only a third of the way done. And we must have different definitions of what a third is, because she assumes a third of a 6-page paper is 2 pages. I'm like, well, I got the title, now I just need to do the research and write the essay. But anyways, long story short, the essay was okay, but let me tell you, the stress in the house that night was not worth it. So trust me, I've been there, I've done that. My first tip for our graduates, stop procrastinating. Now, on a more serious note, tip number 2, show empathy and be kind to others. A famous CEO named Gary Vaynerchuk has this analogy that I love on the subject. He says, there are 2 ways to build the biggest building in town. Option 1, just build the biggest building in town. Or option number 2, build a decent-sized building and then spend the rest of your life trying to tear everyone else's building down. The majority of people choose option number 2 because it's easier. Being kind to others requires us to be open, to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable makes us feel exposed, isolated, and uncomfortable. Oftentimes, people in high school view this vulnerability as being beta or as a sacrifice of social status. However, from my personal experience, I would argue it is quite the opposite. Late last year on a Sunday after a church service, I had the opportunity to meet with one of the higher-ups from our church's main campus. And I didn't really think anything of the conversation. It was like 10 or 15 minutes, but I did take one thing away from it. During the conversation, the man never turned the conversation back towards himself. He always asked me questions about me and oriented the conversation towards me. Later in the week, when I sat down at the dinner table, there was an envelope, a white envelope with my name written on it. And I opened it up, and it was a thank you note from the man, saying how much he enjoyed my maturity and positivity in our conversation where we talked about me. And it just made me think how big of an impact it has when you just do small, random acts of kindness for others. I encourage you to write the thank you notes. To each day, do a small, random act of kindness and see not only how it impacts the people around you, but also how it impacts yourself. And my last, and arguably my most important tip, control what you can control. I had a job interview last week, and I was asked a very thought-provoking question. The lady asked me, out of all the things you've done up to this point in your life, what do you feel is your greatest accomplishment? My response was this past basketball season. As many of you may know, my sophomore and junior seasons, our team played a total of 46 games. And of those 46 games, we won 7. For my junior year, I had decided to cut down to one sport and not play football, and that way I could solely focus on basketball. And I remember sitting on my porch one summer night and talking with my dad, and he said, there's nothing you can do to make me love you less. And I know we won't always agree on things, but I think you might be making a mistake. You can read books on leadership, spend hundreds of hours in the gym, and put up thousands of shots, and come your senior season, the team could have an 8-14 season, and that's something you just have to be okay with. That would be enough year for the program. My response to my father, we're going to win more than 8 games. Dad, not to say I told you so, but I told you so. This year, we won 17 games and won a sectional championship. Some of you might be familiar with the equation E plus R equals O. It comes from football coach Urban Meyer and stands for event plus response equals outcome. 7 wins in 2 years was a rough event for me, and it was something I only had partial control over. However, the late nights in the gym, reading the books on leadership, I had full control over those things. Now, I don't share this story with you today to brag, but rather I share this story with you because as West Holmes graduates, you are in a similar position. Many of you may think of the equation and see graduation as an outcome. The mornings where you didn't want to get out of bed or the tests that caused you to stress out may pose as events. That would be one way to look at it. But today, I challenge you to look at graduation as an event. And in closing, I ask you one simple question. How will you respond? Thank you. Senior band members, please join the band members for your senior song at this time.
How's your dog doing his way up? Like the farm?
I would now like to welcome my fellow valedictorian to the stage, Joy Latouf.
A speech of this nature is supposed to move people and resonate with them and connect with them in a way that they'll remember. I will admit that when I first thought about that, I definitely got stressed out. But then, through my stress and through my panic, I remembered a moment, a vivid moment, where I experienced something that resonated with me. About 2 years ago, my siblings and I watched a comedy special entitled Jigsaw. Ironically, I specifically remember watching it right before my sister's graduation. One part of his routine is all about jigsaw puzzles, hence the title, and just like that, all the pieces clicked into place for me as I absorbed what he was saying. Our very lives are like a jigsaw. This comedian brings up the idea that me, you, everyone, all of our lives are like a jigsaw puzzle. But here's the kicker. We've all lost the box to our puzzles, so we have no clue what the big picture we're working towards is supposed to be. The way he presents it is a way we are all familiar with. The best way to make a puzzle is the outside going in. You start with your four corners, which are the typical pillars of one's life: family, friends, hobbies and interests, and your job, or what for us may have been school. You slowly build the rest of your edges as you go through life, each puzzle piece its own unique experience or lesson. So, after you have your edges established, what's the big picture in the middle that we're all working towards? Well, that center is your happiness. Whatever it is that brings you joy. You need to find what that is and focus your life around it, and everything else should fall into place. Your corners may change around a bit, of course, but you fill in the gaps. You may have a friend or family member leave, but you must find a way to fill that space, or there will just be a hole in your puzzle, a missing piece. Your job may change and shift around. You may lose certain hobbies or interests as you grow older, and even gain some. The most important part of your puzzle is knowing that your happiness is the center picture. Whether you find a hobby or an occupation you want to make your center, or whether it's a person that happens to make you happiest, the center of your picture must be joy. Another important aspect of this analogy is the fact that everyone else's lives are also puzzles, every bit as complicated and individual as your own. You do not know how other people's puzzles look, and you do not know what they've gone through to build it. What you must realize is this: no one is just a puzzle piece. They may just seem that way when we're trying to fit people into our own puzzles, and we get upset when they can't. But when your pieces don't fit, they simply don't. We are a mosaic of everyone we've ever met, but that doesn't mean that they don't have their own mosaic that they're also arranging. Another important thing is to not change your puzzle for someone else to the point where you do not recognize the big picture anymore. It is your puzzle and your big picture, no one else's. I would like to thank some of the people who have been involved in my puzzle. The administration here at the high school, the administration at the middle school and elementary schools, the school board, every teacher I've ever had, any friendship that has come and gone, anyone that has stayed and persisted, anyone who has ever taught me a lesson, anyone who has cheated off of me, and anyone who I've ever cheated off of. It's a joke. And all of you, the senior class of 2021. Everyone I just named has had an impact on my life and is a part of my puzzle. Any decision they may have made affected my school years and my learning in any way. Everyone has their own puzzle piece in my jigsaw or is a part of one in some way. Of course, I would also like to thank my family for constantly supporting me and being with me as I continue to create myself. You guys take up a huge corner of my puzzle. Everyone you come in contact with will affect you and become a part of who you are, a part of your jigsaw. We, this class all together, have all affected each other in ways we may not realize. You guys, we've known each other since at least 6th grade. Some of us shorter, some of us longer. But most of us have seen each other grow up and have literally shaped each other through our own little ways, sometimes without realizing. I'll repeat, we are a mosaic of everyone we've ever met and every lesson that we've ever learned. So here's my message to you, fellow seniors, and and everyone else listening in, build your own puzzle. Do not waste your time on trying to change other people's puzzles or trying to build your jigsaw around someone else. I think, especially this year, we have found how important it is to create and find your own happiness. And anyone in here could attest to that. Because in the end, that's the only thing that's going to matter. The only thing that does matter is making sure that you absolutely love your big picture. So, West Holmes class of 2021, build your own puzzle, find your own happiness, and create your own big picture. Thank you. Senior choir members, please join the choir for your senior song.
There's a tradition I want to make sure we do not forget. So if there is any graduate that is joining the military, would you please stand? Thank you for your service and God bless. Mr. Thomas, it is my honor to present to you the class of 2021 who have met all the requirements set forth by the state of Ohio.
Board members, administrators, teachers, support staff, seniors, parents, family members, guests. Throughout human history, people have struggled with forces in their environment. Historians and authors have tried to capture that in their writings. Some of you may recognize this quote from one of my favorite authors in his description of such a struggle. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven, we were all going direct the other way. This quote from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities is the opening line. The phrase points out major conflicts between family and love, hatred and oppression, good and evil, light and darkness, wisdom and folly, all human struggles. Graduation speeches are expected to inspire, challenge, and motivate. Speakers aspire to say things that are memorable, hopeful, and thoughtful. What I say today, I doubt will be remembered long by anyone here, but I have no doubt that you will remember this year for the rest of your lives. The fact that your senior year has taken place in a pandemic will never be forgotten. I've been alive for 73 years. As a child, I had scarlet fever and mumps. I knew people that had polio. I knew children that died or were paralyzed from polio. I've been quarantined. This is my 50th year working in education, with 32 of those years as a superintendent. Nothing in my experience prepared me to deal with a pandemic. For most of us, the uncertainty, the sudden changes in procedures, the imposition of quarantine rules, the prohibition of normal school events and activities, the disruption of instruction and learning, the responsibility to keep all of you safe have all been unexpected. Much of it was imposed by outside agencies as they tried to determine the best course of action, and in most cases was thought of as unwelcome. Traditionally, graduation speakers try to prepare you for what is about to happen after graduation. They warn you about the uncertainties you will face. They challenge you to be flexible, resilient, and persistent. Speakers will promise you there are rewards for working hard, staying the course, and focusing on accomplishing your goals. Speakers try to paint a picture of what could happen if only you. Well, that seems a little silly given what you've just come through this past year. The fact that you're sitting here today tells me you're already prepared for much of what's to come. You've direct experience in dealing with uncertainties. You've already been flexible, resilient, and persistent. You don't need promise that rewards are possible if only you work hard, stay the course, and focus. You already know those things. The proof is you're sitting here. You've achieved the status of graduating senior. You have navigated the uncertainties that have been inescapable in your environment. You've proven you are prepared for what's happening. You have been flexible. You have been resilient, and you've been persistent. You've shown the grit and determination that helped you earn this. So what has been learned? You've learned the true value of sacrifice. You've learned the importance of cooperation. You've discovered the true value of friends and family, and you've learned that spending time with them is one of the most valuable things in your life. You've gotten through this past year because you did it together. You've learned that relationships matter. How you treat each other matters. That even the most seemingly menial job is essential, and so are those who perform them. No matter what you choose to do with your life, no matter what you do to make a living, remember this year, and remember to treat others as though they matter, because they do. As the interim superintendent, it is my responsibility to take part in this graduation ceremony by giving this speech. I feel blessed to be here. I feel privileged to have the opportunity to speak to you and to watch you graduate. I'm inspired by each of you. I feel pride in your accomplishments, hope in our future, and confidence that you are prepared for whatever life throws at you. Thank you and congratulations, West Holmes class of 2021. You are truly knights I will remember. Mr. Renner, I accept this class.
Alicia Ann Alexander. Eden Victoria Alexander. Autumn June Anderson. Carter John Anderson. Skylar Dane Anderson. Cameron Lawrence Alt. Natasha Nicole Sonia Otterbook. Madison Storm Malat. Maxwell Pierce Pratt. Joshua Stephen Schrock. Joy Barbara Latouf. Brandon David Barkman. Hayden Randall Wolf. Alexis Marie Weiss. Jalen Louise Baker. Cohen Anthony James Baker. Mason Dean Baker. Stephen David Lee Baldridge. Brock Allen Barbie. Brenna Renee Barnes.
Emma J. Burgoon. Thomas Gregory Brantley. Devin Wells Brenley. Ryan Burke Bridenthal. Haley Nicole Britt. Brevin James Booker. Brant Michael Burgett. Caden Jeffrey Carter. Cody Michael Cheney. Hannah Jo Clark. Zoe Elizabeth Clark. Riley Nicole Collins. Colt Michael Cox. Rhiannon Marie Rose Deichel. Peyton Storm Eads. Reed Lyle Fendrick. Avery Jade Frank. Callie Lane Frazier. Gavin Marshall Freeman.
Taylin Janae Garbrandt Bolin. Aniston Nicole Gallion. Tyler Blake Gallion. Macy Paige Gilstrap. Nathaniel Joshua Ginsberg. Kylie Marie Graber. Lane Alexander Graham. Taryn Faith Graspa. Gavin Patrick Willis Greer. Grant Allen Harford. Kendall Archer Harris. Kevin Michael Harwood Jr. Gavin Isaac Haston. Cassidy Ann Marie Hawkins. Caden Everett Hawkins. Grayson Mark Hay. Mallory Elizabeth Henley. Katie Ann Hirschberger. Cadence Elizabeth Hines. Michaela Irene Holcomb.
Adam Daniel Hopkins. Aubrey Ann Arlene Huyen. Cadence Fawn Howe. Micah James Daniel Humphrey. Seth Michael Eisen. Bailey Thomas Jeffries. Thomas Michael Johnson. Andrew Dale Jones, Jr. Ian Blaine Jones. Lauren Ann Jones. Megan Marie Jones. Timothy Verd Candle. Jesse Brooklyn Keene. Samantha Leanne Kendall. Logan Davis Kula. Matthew Eugene Lacey. Chesney Ann Lanham. Leticia Nicole Larson. Eric William Marmon. Derek Joshua Martin.
Devereaux Jarrett Montgomery Mast. Sarah Ann McCullough. Caden Alexander McCune. Peyton Douglas McKinney. Brady Wayne Miller. Corbin Rain Miller. Garen Tate Miller. Jonathan Andrew Miller. Michael Anthony Miller. Peyton James Douglas Miller. Rosanna Marie Miller. Sailor Bryn Miller. Judson Charles Michael Ray Morris. Allison Danielle Mullen. Braden Thomas Myers. Emmett Chase Myers. Summer Nicole Myers. Dalton Allen Niels. Andrew Wayne Nicholson. Jackson Thomas Oliver.
Paris Adriana Pauline Olney. Michaela Sue Palmer. Taylor Ryan Patterson. Sydney Ray Payne. Jamie William Pennell. Ashley Renee Phillips. Ashley Claire Phillips. Destiny Marie Pazworski. Callie Victorianne Proper. Adriana Elena Rodriguez. Carolyn Ann Rohr. Hannah Louise Rohr. Nathaniel Douglas Rohr. Katrina Caitlin Rollins. Tanner Chase Shad. Dakota Marie Shoup. Branton Allen Shepler. Clay Matthew Shepler.
Malaya Katra Kayan Sherman. Jacob Xavier Skolmich. Carl Ivan Spangler. Yasmin Eileen Spangler. Stasia Lynn Sparks. Alex James Sparks, or Sprang. Katie Renee Sprang. Rebecca Ann Sprang. Olivia Jade Spurgeon. Zachary Kenneth Stair. Brogan Maud Steinman. Mackenzie Joseph Stewart. Isabella Fern Struther. Keaton William Sunberg. McKenna Elizabeth Serber Emick. Tristan May Swigert. Brady Earl Taylor. Maggie Nicole Taylor. DeAndre Charles Thomas.
Kaylise Christina Thomas. Dalton Dean Thorpe. Brenna Blaine Troyer. Luke Anthony Vaccarello. Luke Holton Vess. Nicholas Christopher Wares. Cade Richard Thomas Wagers. Curtis Daniel Wagner. Kenna Ruth Warner. Jack Harrison Welsh. Cannon Lee Wetz. Addison Wade Yates. Carson Avery Yoder. Caden David Ziegler. Jesse Zhang. Clayton J. Zimmerly.
Should I let them set up or do I say no?
Go.
Ready?
I thought you were doing that.
Yep. Please join us for the singing of our alma mater.
Oh, stand up. Tell him to stand up. Tell him to stand up. Mr. Wolf, stand up.
Oh, they got it.
They got it.
They got the moment.
They got it.
People leading us.
Oh, fuck, right.
We're done, we're done.